Last chapter for a whole Fudge series that we've had. I hope you've enjoyed it. We've had Tales of Fourth Grade Nothing, Double Fudge, Fudgemania, Super Fudge, and they've all been so wonderful to us, and they hold so many super great memories where we laughed and we giggled, and I hope this chapter you love just as much too. So, chapter 16, You Never Know. After Halloween, the weather turned cold. The natural beauties had never experienced winter. Remember, they lived in Honolulu, Hawaii. Whenever I saw them, they were always shivering, and so was Minnie. Since they'd be on their way to Florida soon, Cousin Howie said it didn't make sense to buy winter clothes. I kept thinking that if they were that cold, they'd leave New York and head south before their 6 weeks were up, but the natural beauties were determined to stay in New York until the last possible minute. Mom and Mrs. Tubman put together a box for them, sweaters and jackets for the kids, and winter maternity clothes for Eudora. She was growing now, and you could definitely tell she was pregnant. Fudge loved putting his hands on her belly. There's really a baby inside? Yes, Eudora said. Just like a panda. Not quite like a panda, Eudora said. Panda babies are only as big as a stick of butter when they're born. My baby will be at least 6 or 7 pounds. You remember Tootsie when she was born, don't you? I didn't like her, Fudge said. But you like her now, Eudora said. Not as much as I'd like a panda. Duh, Tootsie said. That's right, Eudora said. You're getting to be quite a talker. And she wasn't the only one. I can talk too, Minnie announced to the natural beauties. We know you can, Flora said, but you don't have to, Fauna said. Because you have us, Flora said. No, Minnie shouted. What do you mean, Fauna asked him. I think he means, Flora began. Stop, Minnie said. Stop? Fauna asked. I can talk myself. Is he saying he doesn't want us to talk for him anymore? Flora asked. Is that what you're saying, Minnie? Fauna asked him. Yes. I guess he's growing up, Flora said. I guess he's not our baby brother anymore, Fauna agreed, sounding sad. Cheer up, Fudge told them. Soon you'll have another baby in the family. It might even be a panda baby. A panda baby? The natural beauties laughed. You never know, Fudge told them. Mrs. Little had a mouse, and she named him Stuart. Wink, wink. Fudge had his first loose tooth. Bottom front. He's planning on collecting big time for the from the tooth fairy. He's been wiggling his loose tooth for weeks. He was still wiggling it at our farewell dinner with the Howies. Mom invited Mrs. Osterman, too, so the 3 heroes could have a reunion. But Minnie was more interested in Uncle Feather than a reunion. He took off for Fudge's room right after. I was glad to see Cousin Howie follow him. Once the natural beauties had found out that Olivia Osterman had been a Broadway star, they wanted to hear everything about her life. New York is a magical place, she told them. It's a city where your dreams can come true, where a girl can become a star overnight. That was enough for the natural beauties. Please, 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 they begged. Eudora, can we please stay in New York? You and Daddy can go south, and we'll come down to visit. That's out of the question, Eudora told them. You belong with your family. The natural beauties looked at Mom. Oh, no, I thought. Please, Cousin Anne, Fauna begged. We wouldn't be any trouble, Flora said. No, 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 Eudora said. That's not what I meant. But the natural beauties had their own ideas. We'd help out with Tootsie, Fauna said. What about me, Fudge asked. Don't you want to help out with me? Sure, Flora said, with you too. Girls, Eudora told the natural beauties. That's enough. Enough of what? Howie asked, returning with Minnie. Never mind, Eudora said. Mom thanked the natural beauties for their kind offer. Wasn't that a kind offer, Warren? Dad nodded, but looked worried until Mom said, Unfortunately, girls, this isn't the right time for us to take on any more responsibilities. Well, of course it isn't, Eudora said. Besides, Dad said, winters are long and hard, and you're not used to it. But we'd love to see snow, the natural beauty said at the same time. What are we talking about here, Cousin Howie asked. About college, Dad said, thinking fast. Maybe when Flora and Fauna are older, they can come to New York to study. And live in a dorm, I added. Yes, Mom said. They wouldn't want to miss out on dorm life. I bowed my head and silently gave thanks that Mom and Dad are smarter than I thought they were. Dorm life, Cousin Howie said. I don't know about that. I've read that they have co-ed dorms these days, meaning boys and girls that live within the same building. So a group of boys on a floor and a group of girls on a floor. Well, we don't have to worry about that yet, do we, Eudora said. A few minutes later, Mom announced that dinner was ready and we took our seats at the table. Let us all join hands and give thanks, Cousin Howie said. I wasn't about to tell him that I already had. We went around the table taking turns. Cousin Howie gave thanks for finding his long-lost family. Mrs. Osterman gave thanks for an interesting life, and the Natural Beauties gave thanks for New York. Minnie gave thanks for Eggnuff and then leaned over and licked Fudge's arm. Fudge inched away and pulled down his sleeves. Then it was Fudge's turn. I give thanks for, money. He said. Dad sighed. Can you think of anything else, Fudge? Toys? Fudge said. I'll bet there are other things that you're thankful for, Dad said. Oh, those things, Fudge said. And then he started listing them, all of them. I give thanks that Uncle Feather can talk again, and that his wing is better, and that I'm smart, and Mom and Dad love me best. He looked right at me. Ha ha, Pete. Ha ha, I said. He still wasn't finished. And I give thanks for Monster Spray, and for my teacher William, and Grandma, and Buzzy, and Richie Potter, and. He went on, but I tuned him out and thought about all the things that I'm thankful for. Not that I'd say any of them out loud in front of the Howies or to anyone else. Some things are private. I guess Fudge still hasn't learned that yet because he was still going strong, giving thanks for his favorite books, his favorite foods, and even his favorite smells. Finally, Dad said, Thank you, Fudge. I think we can eat now. And while we were eating, Cousin Howie waved his fork around and explained to Livy Osterman that they'd be heading to the Florida Everglades in a few days. Everglades? Fudge perked up. I've told him 1,000,000 times it's Glade, not Blades, but he still doesn't get it. He has this idea that the Howies are going to a place where nobody walks, bikes, or drives. They just blade. Is that near Disney World? He asked because I really want to go to Disney World. I'm thinking of buying it. Cousin Howie laid down his fork and wiped his mouth with his napkin. Tubby, you've got to bring your family down for a visit. You've got to let me show them the real Florida, the one nature created, not Mr. Disney. We'll do a canoe trip through the Everglades. We'll see alligators and crocodiles, Howie said. As he turned to Fudge, do you know, little fella, that the only place in the whole world where alligators and crocodiles actually live together? And all kinds of birds, Fauna added. We have birds in New York, Fudge said. We have pigeons. No offense, Fudge, but we're not talking about pigeons, Cousin Howie said. We're talking about flamingos and herons and spoonbills. Cousin Howie turned to Dad. So, what do you say, Tub? How does Christmas in the Everglades sound? Not Christmas, I added quickly. We always have Christmas in New York. Then February, Cousin Howie suggested. Not February, I said. I can't leave town in February. Jimmy Fargo's getting married on Valentine's Day, and I promised I'd be there. Never say can't, Peter, Cousin Howie told me. Where there's a will, there's a way. I'll bet you've heard of that before. I heard it, Fudge sang, from Grandma. Good, Cousin Howie said that it's settled. A family reunion in the Everglades sometime this winter, some week when you want to get away from the ice and snow, the howling winds, and the gray skies. Well, Mom said, that's a very kind invitation, and we certainly appreciate it. It may not be this winter, Dad said, but you can make sure that it will be some winter. Yeah, I thought, like in 50 years. For dessert, we had brownies with ice cream. Fudge bit into the brownie, then got this funny look on his face. He reached into his mouth and pulled something out. Look, everybody, he said, holding up a chocolate-covered tooth. Put it under your pillow tonight, and the tooth fairy will come, Mrs. Osterman said, but wash it off first. When dinner was over and Dad was clearing the dessert plates, Fudge looked around and said, Where's my tooth? I put it right here on the table, and now it's gone. Did you take it, Dad? No, Dad said. Did you take it, Pete? No, I said. Why would I take your tooth? Then where is it, Fudge asked. I almost said with your missing shoe and your green marble, but I didn't. We still haven't found his green marble, and for all we know, his missing shoe is still riding some subway train. Maybe your tooth fell on the floor, Mom said. So Fudge got out of his seat and searched for it, but no luck. It was next to my milk glass. Minnie saw it, didn't you, Minnie? Minnie nodded. Minnie, Flora said, do you know where Fudge's tooth is? Minnie nodded again. Tell him where it is, Fauna said. Gone, Minnie said. Gone Where? I asked, and Minnie patted his tummy. Cousin Howie laughed. He's making a joke. Isn't that right, Farley? No, Minnie said. I want my tooth, Fudge told them. I want it now. Minnie laughed and patted his stomach again. What are you trying to say, Minnie? Fauna asked. Eggnuff's tooth. What about Eggnuff's tooth? Flora said. Minnie climbed out of his chair and raced around the table singing, Yummy, yummy, yummy. Tummy, tummy, tummy. Fudge let out a wail. No! Eudora jumped up from the table. You didn't really swallow Fudge's tooth, did you, Farley? Minnie kept on running around the table. It tasted like chocolate. Mom! Dad! Fudge yelled. Do something! Stay there, Charlotte. This was beginning to sound, familiar. Familiar to you, too? Too familiar. Cousin Howie was out of his seat in a flash. He caught Minnie and turned him upside down. Howie, Eudora warned he just finished dinner! But Cousin Howie whacked him on his back anyway. No tooth came out, and lucky for us, neither did anything else. Now the tooth fairy won't come, Fudge cried. He might have torn Minnie apart to get his tooth back, but the Howies were out of the apartment so fast you'd have thought the place was on fire. The second they were gone, Fudge cried, I hate Minnie! First my burden, now my tooth! He's a disaster! How you know how I felt, I said. What do you mean, Pete? When you swallowed dribble, my turtle? Fudge thought about that. Did you hate me, Pete? Yeah, I did. Was I a disaster? Yeah, you were. Oh no, where'd Charlie go? Pause. Oh! Down the back of the... Come on, come on. Pause, pause, pause. Come on. Come on, come on, come on, come on.
Pause, 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 pause.
Come on.
Now I have to scroll through the whole video
I'm
to find...
sorry.
Try to find where you...
You get down.
Jeez, you almost like rolled her over.
Get down, get down. Oh. Sorry. Yeah, you were. From the other room, we could hear Uncle Feather calling, Disaster! Disaster! But I'm not anymore, right? Fudge asked. I didn't say anything. You're really glad I'm your little brother now. I'm the best little brother you could ever have. Right? Oh, Charlotte. I still didn't say anything. If you say yes, I'll show you my secret. I snorted. I knew he'd show me his secret no matter what I said. Later, when I went to bed, Fudge tucked a note to the tooth fairy under his pillow. Mom and Dad helped him write it, explaining the situation. Psst, Pete, he called as I was passing his room. What? He motioned for me to come in and sit on his bed. Look what I found, and he pulled a small box out from under his pillow. What's this? I asked. Open it, and you'll see my secret. Oh, she's gone again. When I opened the box, it was full of tiny teeth. Where'd you get this? I found it in Mom's room. These must be my teeth, I said. But the tooth fairy won't know, will she? Yeah, she will, I told him, and she'll never trust you again. I grabbed the box and took it to my room. I lay down on my bed, trying to remember how it felt to be Fudge's age. I touched the tiny teeth, and then I slipped the box under my pillow because, hey, you never know. That's the end of our book. And Charlotte is so upset and so distraught she had to run and hide and go down the side of the couch. So, that's the end of our book. I hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed so much reading it to you. I'm going to start our next book. It's super thin. This one's a little bit thicker. This one is probably not even a quarter of it. But it's called Sadako and the 1,000 Paper Cranes. And it is a true story, historical fiction, where this is a little bit more of realistic fiction that kind of goes with something that we can all relate to. So I hope you have a super day. I hope you enjoyed this. I'm going to tell you that you can definitely take the AR test now, and if you ever feel like it, you can always listen to it again. I'll see you later. Bye, guys.